And the way I tend to view problems is from a physics standpoint. I think physics is a good analytical framework, and one of the key things in physics is to reason from first principles. This is contrary to the way most human reasoning takes place, which is by analogy. Reasoning from first principles just means that you figure out what are the fundamental truths or things that people are pretty sure are fundamental truths. And can you build up to a conclusion from that, from those principles, and then certainly if you come up with some idea and it appears to violate one of those fundamental truths, then you're probably wrong, or you should get a really big prize or something like that. So this may seem like, I don't know, it may seem sort of obvious when it's explained, but it's actually not what people do. Reasoning by analogies is helpful because it's a shortcut.
Yeah.
And it's mostly correct, but it tends to be most incorrect when you're dealing with new things, because it's hard to analogize to something really new.
If you tell me who your heroes are, I can tell you how you're going to turn out to quite an extent by this point in life. And I have been extraordinarily lucky in that none of my heroes ever let me down. I mean, the ones I came up with throughout their lives, I've never felt that I've been let down in any way with it. Number one was my dad, and had a huge impression on me. My wife, who is here, is one of my heroes. I mean, she is, in terms of she's taught me a tremendous amount, and never seen anybody any better with human beings than she is. And you can, Yogi Berra again said you can observe a lot just by watching. And I watched my dad, and I've watched her, and I had a professor, Ben Graham, back at Columbia, and had a huge impact on me. So I have been lucky in that I've had terrific heroes, and they haven't let me down. And that takes you a long, long way. I've gone through one or two periods where we're kind of tough in life, but not. I mean, everybody's had that, but having the right heroes will take you right through it.
And I would say reading is the strongest signal for success in the future that I've ever seen. It is the strongest. I got my first job in radio when I was 16 years old, because I've been broadcasting since I was 16 years old. But my first job I got because I was a great reader. When you are a great reader, you can articulate and speak and command the English language in ways that other people cannot. And people think you're a lot smarter than you are, lots of times, because you're a great reader. Have you ever met a person who was a great reader when they were young who was not successful? You never. It is the absolute best foundation ever in life.
My grandparents would take me every summer, starting at age 4, every summer, kind of to give her a break, really, for the whole summer. So I'd be with my grandparents, and on their ranch in Cotulla, Texas, which is halfway between San Antonio and Laredo. We lived in Houston, and so we would make the 5-hour drive out to Cotulla. They'd drop me off, spend a couple of days there, then they'd go back to Houston. I'd spend the summer. And I went every day to the ranch with my grandfather to help. Now, a 4-year-old boy on a ranch in South Texas is not a lot of help. But I didn't know that. I thought I was helping, and then by the time I was 16, I actually was helping. So I have, I can suture up a prolapsed cow. I can fix windmills. My grandfather was so resourceful, and that he made his own veterinary needles. He would take a little piece of wire and pound it flat with like a oxyacetylene torch, and then drill a little hole through it. And then we did all of our own veterinary work. Some of the cattle even survived. And so we had great fun out there. We built barns and welded things, and he bought a D6 Caterpillar bulldozer used. It was like 1955 model year for $5,000. It was completely broken. The gears were stripped. And then we spent, a whole summer repairing that. And the first thing we had to do to repair it was build a crane to take the gears out of the transmission. And so, you know, what I learned from watching him was just how resourceful he was. He didn't ever call a repairman. He figured it out.
You know, I kind of think about what we're doing today very similarly to how I thought about where we were at the beginning. You know, it's, you know, I get people all the time who come to me and say, all right, well, you're investing billions of dollars in trying to put internet connectivity in places where, you know, we don't get paid for it. It's not something that we'll make any money from for a very long period of time if it works out. But, you know, it's this deep belief that you're trying to make a change, you're trying to connect people in the world, and I really do believe that if you do something good, and if you help people out, then eventually some portion of that good will come back to you. And you may not know up front what it's going to be, but that's just been the guiding principle for me in the work that we've done.
Your early days, you described yourself as a nightmare boss. Those are your words, not mine. Was your work ethic just very different to everybody else's?
I was fanatical in my 20s. Helping Microsoft lead the way in software was the only thing that I really focused on. So, you know, I worked weekends, I didn't believe in vacation, and so I really pushed people to work hard. Did you? And I was still learning how to manage people, particularly the different skill sets, the sales people, the accounting people. And so, you know, I fortunately, I think I'm a little bit better now.
In my apartment, when we started, 18 founders. And we aim high, we have a dream. We say we want to become the top 10 internet companies or websites in the world. Guys, at that time, we are ranking several million names. But we say we want to be number 10, or the top 10 of the world. We want to make this company last 102 years, and we don't know where's our pay next month. Well, when you are poor, if you have dreams, you'll never feel poor. You know what we are doing. So after, we never say we will win next year or we win tomorrow. We say we will win in 10, 20 years. 19 years passed. Today, we are the top 10 websites, internet companies in the world.